Ranger Ray had given more than 30 years to the Greenwoods, calling the forest his true address. His partner was a black lab named Buddy, steady, brave, and loyal, matching him step for step on every patrol. On calm days, they moved along narrow trails, reading tracks, studying scat, checking fragile places. Always listening for what the wild was trying to say. Then the rain came, and it didn't stop. For days, it hammered the ridges, turned the hills gray, and pressed the air heavy against the earth. The easy river went angry and high. Mud-brown water climbed and rolled. Trees snapped, stone and soil slid. Every duty turned urgent, every task dangerous. The ranger crew split into small teams, scattered across the map to read the damage quickly and help wherever a human hand was needed. Ray drove the old pickup with the rattling door. Buddy sat in the back seat, alert, ears forward, eyes locked on the swollen river. The sky sagged low, thunder rolled, lightning cracked, wind whistled through the seams of the truck, turning the cab into a drum. Suddenly, Buddy sprang up, barking sharp and fierce, staring through the rain-streaked glass as if he'd seen a flare. Ray braked hard, leaned forward to follow his dog's gaze, but saw only sheets of rain in a river gone wild. Before he could say a word, Buddy launched out the door, a black streak racing toward the flooded bank. Ray's heart hit his throat. He shouted his partner's name, but the storm swallowed his voice. Buddy disappeared into the brown rush. Ray slid down the slope, boots skidding in the mud, eyes hunting the chaos, desperate to understand what had driven his dog to leap. Then he saw it. A small tawny shape, fighting to breathe. A lion cub, soaked, shaking, eyes wide with fear, breath coming in tiny scraps. The little body clawed at the current, movement slowing, surrendering to the pull. Buddy barked once, low and fierce, and drove straight into the water. He cut across the surge, muscles tight as rope, head high against the torrent. He reached the cub and gripped the scruff, gentle, sure. The river grabbed them both, spinning them like leaves. Buddy dug deep, paws striking long and hard, angling toward safety. Ray ran the bank, shouting above the storm, "Good boy, hold on." He was ready to dive if either one went under. Halfway back, the cub went limp, breath thin, body soft and cold. Buddy tightened his hold and kept swimming. Minutes stretched like hours. At last, they slid into the mud-slick bank, branches and roots snagging at their legs. Ray dropped to his knees, reached long, and hauled them both in with his arms, heart pounding so hard it shook his ribs. Buddy collapsed on his side, gasping, still holding the cub until it was safe on the ground. Rain poured down. Both bodies trembled as Ray knelt close, eyes wet, knowing he had just witnessed something rare. The cub's eyes closed. Its breath was a thread. Ray wrapped Buddy in an old towel from the truck. The dog shivered but never took his eyes off the cub. They raced for the wildlife clinic, wipers slapping, tires hissing across flooded blacktop. In the parking lot, Ray killed the engine. Rain hammered the roof. He set his forehead on the steering wheel and whispered a prayer. "Please keep this little one breathing. Please keep Buddy safe. Steady our hands. Give us a little more time. Amen." He drew a slow breath, wiped his eyes with his sleeve, and opened the door. Inside the bright exam room, the vet washed away mud, listened to the fragile chest, checked the tiny ribs with warm hands. The cub gave a paper-thin cry, blinked, then opened both eyes. Everyone exhaled at once. They checked Buddy too, just scrapes and bone-deep exhaustion from fighting a river that could take down a grown man. A doctor came out with a careful smile. "The cub has a real chance, if we give steady care for a few days." Ray pressed his palm to Buddy's damp fur. Whispered, "Thank you." Pride and relief shone through the worry. In that moment, Ray knew he had witnessed a bond that crossed species, something that would live in him forever. The center asked Ray to take the next step. Help Buddy care for the cub in a semi-wild pen, where it could heal and learn. Those first days were quiet. The cub stayed in the corner, watchful, unsure. Buddy lay nearby, not pushing, not demanding, just breathing slow, humming those low, warm sounds dogs make until the frightened little heart finally settled. One afternoon, the cub inched forward, sniffed Buddy's shoulder, then bumped its head against the black fur. A small yes. After that moment, they played like children, chasing circles, tumbling in the dry grass. rolling and yipping without a care in the world. When the cold nights came with a biting north wind, Ray would find them curled together, two shapes sharing heat, like brothers made by chance. The cub's strength returned quickly, his golden coat dried to a shining glow, his eyes cleared, and a spark of purpose burned inside. Other rangers stopped to watch, hands resting on the fence, shaking their heads in quiet wonder at the sight of an old Labrador and a wild cub choosing each other. Ray tended both with one heart. He called it a gift from the woods. When the cub was strong enough, they moved him to a larger space, more trees, more room, a pen that felt closer to the real thing. Ray taught what he could, little hunts with hanging lures, food tucked high and low to sharpen his stalk and spring. Buddy stood outside the fence, tail high, barking short cheers like an older brother saying, "You've got this." At first, the cub missed his mark, but soon, he grew quick, light on his feet, learning to creep and burst, landing exactly where he aimed. Ray kept notes on a small pad, smiling at each win, even as a quiet worry settled in his chest, the knowledge that one day the cub would have to return to the wild. And yet, even as the cub grew wilder, his eyes fiercer, when Buddy came near, he still ran to the fence, pressing his head there in thanks. Sometimes they raced the length of the wire, one outside, one in, like kids on opposite sides of a schoolyard, making anyone who watched laugh and ache at the same time. 6 months passed. The cub filled out, muscles smooth beneath his coat, eyes bright with the look of a hunter born ready. Release day came. The team prepared a special truck to carry him back to the distant grasslands. Ray brought Buddy to say goodbye. Buddy pressed against the fence, licking the young lion's face through the wire. The cub rubbed back, desperate to get closer. They made sounds back and forth, half bark, half rumble, a final conversation in their own language. Ray's chest ached with the sadness of it. He hugged Buddy hard and whispered, "We gave him his chance. That's the job." Buddy lifted his head and let out a strong bark. It hung in the air long enough to make the whole crew stand still, eyes bright with feeling. The cub turned, staring at Buddy for a long moment, as if fixing the picture in his memory of the friend who had pulled him from the dark water. Then, the crate door opened. The young lion stepped inside, head high, but with a softness still in his eyes. Out on the grassland, the gate swung wide. He took the ramp to open ground, tasted freedom on the wind, then ran as if he had always known how. A roar tore from his chest, echoing across the wide silence. Buddy sat beside Ray, watching that golden shape shrink into the horizon, and gave one last bark, the kind that says, "Be well." Ray laid his hand on Buddy's back and whispered, "We gave him a miracle worth living." In Ray's mind, that long, wet day never fades. Now and then, it rises clear as cold rain, reminding him that the world still keeps its wonders. If you believe in stories where courage and kindness change lives, give this tale a like, share it with friends, and subscribe for more journeys with Ray and Buddy, the Black Labrador.